Again, broadcasting from a secret location. We're on a mini vacation, a vacation that you go on before you go on a real vacation. And I suggest you guys do the same to break up the monotony associated with working, and taking care of business and everything. And sometimes you just want to relax a little bit and eventually go on your regular, more significant vacation. So take a mini vacation, take a mini break, day trip, something. Get in your car, just drive a couple of 100 miles or so, whatever it takes, and just relax it at a nice hotel and let someone else do the cooking and the cleaning and all of that while you relax and take it easy. And unlike myself, you don't need to record podcasts and such, but I just get into the habit of doing these crazy things. Anyway, I'm Monty Henry, by the way, owner of DPL Surveillance Equipment, full service surveillance and security equipment company. As I always mention, we have lifetime guarantees and warranties on all of the products, 24/7, 365 tech, sales, and customer support. We have perhaps the largest inventory of items that not only can you buy, but you can rent and lay away as well. 24/7, 365 tech, sales, and customer support. Largest inventory of items that not only can you buy, but you can rent as well, rent and lay away. Largest articles directory is what I meant to say. Largest articles directory, in addition to all the other things, largest articles directory, largest video library out there, a significant number of podcasts. I think this is going to make the 150th podcast. So between the podcast and the blogs and the articles and the videos, demonstration videos, we're doing a very good job, I think, in terms of making sure that you guys get an abundance of information to look at, listen to, and read through. And in addition to all of that, we redesigned the website. As I always tell you guys, we redesigned the website, made it very easy to use. Use your mobile phone, smart device, and navigate through the website. Should be very easy to use. Find your favorite spy gadgets and spy products on the website, and hopefully have a good time. Let me know. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you think when you get a chance. This particular session, we're phasing out the use of credit cards. That includes MasterCard and Visa, American Express. All these guys, Discover. We're phasing that out, going the route of Bitcoin and Bitcoin-like transactions. That means that unless it's like cash, irreversible, you can't dispute it, you can't do a chargeback, and such. We don't want to be bothered with middlemen, intermediaries, and people who look over your shoulder and try to tell you how to run your business. We don't need that. Okay, I got my own terms and conditions. I got my own business that I created. You run your business as a bank or credit card issuer, and I'll run mine. Thank you very much. So in the future, we're going to be using Bitcoins. We're going to be using just basically checks, money orders, cashier's checks, wire transfers, things that are irreversible. And if there's a problem with the product or service that we offer, you can talk to me, talk to my assistant. We'll figure it out. We'll take care of it like adults are supposed to be able to, as compared to running to some third-party company and just telling them anything and reversing transactions because you found something cheaper on eBay, or maybe you lost your job and you want to get your money back. All these other 100 excuses that we get. We used to get. We don't get them anymore because we don't do business with those people anymore. Now, this particular podcast is all about money laundering. Okay? Now, I chose this topic for a very special reason. It's called the Money Laundering Hub on the U.S. border. It's Canada. Okay? Now, Canada is our nearest large neighbor and on the border, and they indeed do their share of transactions through their banking system. They got 5 or 6 out of the biggest banks. 5 or 6 of those banks are are of the 60 largest banks in the world, 5 or 6 of them are in Canada. So that's a very small percentage of the banks, as far as size is concerned. But they are indeed located in Canada. And now, when this Vancouver-based real estate agent tried to wire I think he wired $240,000 from Canada's Bank of Montreal to an account in Boston last year, the authorities swooped in. Now, what was happening was this guy, let's read between the lines here, he was wiring $240,000 from Canada to Boston. But the question you want to ask yourself is, how often has this occurred, and what ultimately are the implications of the money laundering that much money from one country, Canada, to the Bank of Boston in the United States? What were the consequences? Was there a conviction? Was there a jail time? Executives at the bank itself in Montreal, for instance, did anybody go to jail, prison, or was the bank sanctioned or anything at all at the top level? I don't care what happens at the bottom levels. What I want to know is what happened at the top level in the bank. Okay, the story doesn't define exactly what happened. Anyway, they arrested Omid Machenchi. Mr. Machenchi in January was charged with money laundering of drug money. He pleaded guilty to the charges in late July in federal court in Massachusetts. Looks like a lot of Canadian financial firms and citizens are involved with suspicious transactions involving again, Canadian firms and financial institutions and citizens. British Columbia's Attorney General David Eby was briefed by law enforcement officials last year on alleged money laundering in his province. The scale of activity described to him blew my mind, Mr. Eby said. So Mr. Eby sounds like he had no clue what was going on. And just so you guys this is ridiculous, mainly because in the cryptocurrency space, we always get accused, because I'm a big Bitcoin enthusiast, we always get accused of not having a reliable technology or currency in terms of Bitcoins being able to prevent money laundering or keep it from occurring in the first place. But the point of this article, I'm going to get right to the point here, is to let you guys know it's not Bitcoin, it's not cryptocurrencies, it's the traditional financial system and the financial industry overall that's doing all the money laundering. In other words, it's not really Canada's fault exclusively. It's not really Australia or not just the United States. All of these banks operate under a certain fundamental guiding principles. In other words, the Bank of International Settlements, the IMF, the World Bank, all of these guys, they provide leadership from the top. They provide the mechanism by which money and funds flow from one country, one bank to the other. These banks operate with the common agreement that when the Bank of International Settlements and the IMF and the World Bank tell them what to do and how to use money and how to transfer that money back and forth between the banks and the citizens and the businesses, that's how they operate, okay? So this is not an isolated problem. This problem is built into the system, basically. And again, I don't see any mention of cryptocurrencies. I don't see any mention of Bitcoin. I don't see any mention of this particular technology that is bandied about in the press. No one is saying anything about how Bitcoin was used. How the blockchain didn't come through it as far as identifying transactions. We try to let you guys know all the time. One day, maybe Bitcoin will have enough privacy to properly let you send money back and forth without anyone knowing, without eliminating the possibility of someone violating your privacy. But we're not there yet. The blockchain is not there yet. Okay, if you use chain analysis and some of these other technologies on the blockchain, you can actually scrutinize transactions and find out a whole lot of information about Bitcoin-related transactions. But as this article points out, this is not even the ideal mechanism by which you transfer you do your money laundering. And just to throw out some numbers here, I think there was 3.5 billion to 3.8 billion to 11.5 billion dollars laundered in the country every year in Canada. This is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police estimated in 2011, the last year for which data is available, which is 7 to 8 years old, that between 5 billion and 15 billion Canadian dollars, or 3.8 billion to 11.5 billion in the U.S., is laundered in the country every year. Okay, again, 5 of the world's largest 60 banks is in Canada, and it is an increasing destination for global capital. So this is just a smoking gun, basically, you guys. This is BS, basically. It's just letting you know that the United States is trying to point the fingers. Whoever wrote this article is trying to make it seem like Canada isn't doing its part. But I can tell you that when the Chinese come to your country and they're using their own banks and their money laundering through their banks in your country, and tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars, is money laundered through the banking system, going into your local real estate market, building up big, giant cities and complexes, and the cranes are coming, and everything is booming. When that money ends up going through those banks into the real estate sector, particularly the commercial real estate sector, and your cities are growing as a result of it, you're not going to want to do a whole bunch about it. You're not going to have the political willpower to do anything about it, because it's creating a big stimulus for your local economy. So, for better or for worse, these idiots who talk about money laundering and everything they want to do about it, they're afraid to clamp down on it. Okay, they already know the regulatory arbitrage that goes on prevents one agency from doing too much as compared to the other agency, because the crooks just use this, as a way of determining who's ultimately going to crack down on money laundering more seriously. Where there's more lax regulation, that's where you go. That's where you do your money laundering. So, anyway, I'm going to let you guys read the article for yourself. I just want to let you know that money laundering is alive and well, and it's going on just business as usual in Canada, in the United States, and until executives at the top, until a bank is closed down, until certain things are done, and a serious signal is sent over the bow of these people who are actually doing the money laundering, and implicate some key executives or close down a bank or two. This is not going to stop anytime soon. So anyway, we're going to close up this session and wrap it up. And as usual, when we close out the session, we want to say, be careful out there, be safe out there, keep your eyes and ears open, and stay safe. And have a good day. And we'll talk later. Okay? Thank you. Bye bye.